And joining us now, NFC West beat writer Eric Williams from NFL on Fox joins us here on ESPN 620 Phoenix. Eric, as you hear John Lynch and you see what's going on with the quarterback situation, they bring in Mac Jones, sign a 2-year deal. Was that, in your opinion, an insurance policy for the 49ers in case things go south with Brock?
No, I don't really see it as that. I just see it as trying to get better overall in the quarterback room. I think eventually they're going to get Purdy done. I don't know what the number's going to be. I have a feeling it's going to have a 5 in front of it in terms of the annual salaries that he'd be earning. I think he's, deserving of that. But I think the move to sign Mac Jones is more about just getting a quality backup that, they like coming into the draft when they drafted Trey Lance. The other thing is, I would say, is nobody wants to say rebuild. They're all calling it reset, recalibration. I mean, they're rebuilding. They're moving on from a bunch of guys and drafting younger guys. Hopefully it happens sooner for them, but, that's what they're doing.
Eric, it's interesting when you look at the offense, McCaffrey coming back, Ayuk, you have Jennings and Pearsall. Offensive line needs a little improvement. Kittle's coming back. They seem to be fairly solid if everybody's healthy. It's that defense that's pretty much decimated with all the dudes that they've lost, especially Greenlaw. What a huge, and the safety as well, huge losses on that defensive side. I mean, those are huge losses.
They are, but they kind of planned for him based on how they drafted. They drafted Mustafa, the safety, and he actually played a lot because Hufanga was hurt. Greenlaw's a great player, but again, he's come off the Achilles, so is he going to get back to the player that he was, before he got hurt in the Super Bowl? So I think those are the issues. When you looked at players that they moved off of, they were guys that had trouble staying healthy. They were great players, but again, if they're not on the field, can they really help you? That would be my concern with Trent Williams. He's been dinged up the last couple of years, and he's not getting any younger. And having covered this league for a while, old guys get hurt. That's why that teams move off of them. They want younger guys a chance of staying healthy, but when they do get hurt, it's quicker for them to return from that injury.
Eric Williams is our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. Eric, my question is about the NFC West. On paper, the way that you see it today, does that mean that the Rams now are at the top? And as you look at the 49ers and the Seahawks, does that mean the Cardinals have slid into that number 2 position, at least on paper today?
Well, I definitely think on paper you have to go with the Rams based on, the success that Matthew had at the end of the season and how he played and being able to bring him back. You move on from Cooper Kupp, and then you add a future Hall of Fame type receiver in Devontae Adams, who I still think is playing good football at 32 years old. And then I really think they did a good job of trying to fix one of the deficiencies they had defensively. So you signed Poona Ford from the Chargers, bring her across town, and I think that's going to immediately improve, their ability to defend the run. Saquon Barkley ran up and down the field against them last year. The Cardinals early in the season ran up and down the field against their defense, so I think that will improve them. Number 2, Cardinals, maybe. I think the Seahawks might have something to say with that, depending on how Sam Darnold plays. Getting a new offensive coordinator in there and Clint Kubiak. They're going to get back to, their identity when they first took over in terms of Snyder and Carroll. It's going to be a run-based team that's going to lean on their defense. Seahawks won 6 of their last 8 games last year. Defense only gave up 18 points a game, so I think McDonald kind of figured some things out. I think you're really looking at the Seahawks and Cardinals kind of right there, and then I think, 49ers are kind of bringing up the rear right now, depending on what they do in the draft.
When you look at the Cardinals with Sweat, Dalvin Tomlinson now, I mean, what a big get that was, even though it was along the tooth. Davis Gaither, Mykal Walker. You look at the defense, but what are you finding out or hearing about why Kaiser White has not been re-signed yet? Is it just about him getting out in the market and then coming back with a legitimate offer before they do anything?
I would think that would be part of it. Yeah, I mean, he's probably got interest from other teams and he's trying to figure out, what the best situation financially is for him. Part of it might be location too, in terms of wanting to be closer to where he's from originally. So I think all those things factor into whether a guy signs with the team he's with right now or whether he signs somewhere else. But Kazier's a good player for them, kind of anchors the middle of that defense. I would imagine that.
And I would also say that the backup with Jacoby Brissett, what a huge move that was for this Cardinals team to really solidify if Kyler Murray does go down.
Yeah, I mean, he's just solid. And I think it's important, in this league to have a legitimate number 2 guy behind your starter that can go in and win a game for you. And so, again, with Kyler, he's struggled with injuries, since he's been in Arizona. His production has also tailed off in the second half of the season. So, maybe they can do a better job of just kind of making sure he stays healthy throughout the year. And you have a guy that can, again, be a spot starter for you in case he is dinged up.
Eric Williams, NFC West beat writer here, NFL on Fox on Rocket Minutes with Jimmy B. I want to ask you in regards to when you look at the quarterback situation overall in the conference, there's been a lot of changes. It's all about the backup, having a really good backup. Who do you think right now is number 1 in the clubhouse going into this season to have the best quarterbacks, duo or situation?
Yeah, I definitely would go with the Rams with Stafford and Garoppolo. I mean, both those guys have played in Super Bowl, so I don't know how you can't start there. I think number 2, I probably would lean with 49ers just because, again, Purdy has shown that he can get it done in the postseason, and I think Mac Jones is a quality backup. And then I think I would go Cardinals number 3, and I would go Seahawks number 4. I know Darnold played well last year, played at an MVP caliber level, but he really struggled those last couple of games of the year when they really needed him to play well. And then you have Sam Howell backing him up, and Howell didn't look good in the spot duty that he got last year. So I would put Seahawks last. And
you look at the receiving. You talk about Darnold. Lockett's gone, DK's gone. By the way, what was the scenario, the situation with DK? Why was he so adamant to get the heck out of Seattle? Did he see this team going nowhere fast, or did he get wind that Sam Darnold was going to be the quarterback? Or once Geno left and went to Vegas, he's like, I'm out of here. What was the precursor to him wanting to move on?
I think the precursor was money. He wanted to get paid, and Pittsburgh was willing to pay him. They're reportedly, I think it's a 5-year, $150 million deal, $132 million new money. It's an average salary of $30 million a year. Believe me, John Snyder did not want to pay that. That they don't want to pay receivers that kind of money. So he went ahead and took the second-round pick, which made sense. They love DK. He's a great player, but they're not going to pay a receiver that kind of money, particularly when they drafted JSN in the first round. He's really kind of emerged as their number 1 receiver. They were always
about 2 minutes.
Here. And so you're right. You're putting Darnold in a tough situation. He had one of the best offenses to operate with, last year in Minnesota, and one of the best play callers in Kevin O'Connell. Now he goes to a new team. He does have JSN, but other than that, the cupboard is pretty bare in terms of receiver. They did sign Marquez Valdez-Scantling, who could give them a little bit of a big body in the perimeter. Maybe they're able to bring Cooper Kupp back home and re-sign him. That would make some sense if Kupp wants to go back. But they're really going to be a running football team. I think they're probably going to run more 2 tight end sets with Kubiak and then lean on Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet to kind of lead that offense from more of a run mindset.
Eric, we always appreciate your time here in Phoenix. Thanks so much. Appreciate you. We'll talk to you down the line here.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys.
That's Eric Williams, NFC West beat writer, NFL on Fox. You can follow him on his X page at Eric_D_Williams. So real dialed in to the NFC West. So a lot of changes, a lot of quarterback moves. What do you think, Manuch? Mac Jones? You a little worried there?
Not really. He's a pretty solid guy.
I mean,
he's a good quarterback. I'd probably prefer more of an experienced guy, but he's smart. He's pretty bright.
Wait, he's got experience, Manuch.
He's got
Jags.
He was a starter in New England for 2 years.
And the Jags.
Right.
And the Jags, yeah. He's got plenty of
He's got that type of thing. But I think sometimes I would have thought that Jacoby Brissett would have been perfect to go to the San Francisco 49ers.
Wasn't available. We went there
again. But, I mean, they had a chance, though, prior to that. But he'll be fine. He'll be a guy that if Brock goes down, he can handle things. He'll be able to go ahead. He's a smart guy. Doesn't have a lot of the abilities a lot of these guys do, but he throws it well. fairly accurate, and I think, again, just a good insurance policy for that Niners team. The other thing, too, is when you look at the thing about whole Sam Darnold going to Seattle, and he just kind of hit it.
I don't get
Who
it.
are you going to
100
throw
million?
to?
Yeah,
Well,
really.
the money, DK's gone, Tyler's gone. You got some decent core, but if they're going to pound the ball and not be quite as expansive as O'Connell was with his playing call in Minnesota, with Kubiak Jr., you could see very much like the Pete Carroll ran. Run it, throw as needed.
We'll look at some of the signings today. One included Mason Rudolph of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He got a 2-year deal worth $8 million. We'll dive into some of those next as we continue on from Twin Peaks in Scottsdale.